Imagine this. You've put in a lot of effort to write a nice long article. Naturally, you would want a lot of eyeballs on it. And the best way of grabbing eyeballs is to rank well in search engines. SEO is very important to get a lot of traffic to your article and directly to your website. So before you go ahead and hit that publish button, I would give you 7 tips that you can use to improve the SEO of your article. Now this is a checklist of sorts. So you can go ahead and check every item of the list, and once everything is checked out, you can go ahead and hit publish. And I can guarantee you that you're going to get more traffic on your article. Let's begin. Now once you have got your article ready in WordPress, the first thing I would want you to do is think of the focus keyword or the focus key phrase. Now this is the key phrase or the keyword that comes to mind when you think about your article. So for example, I have an article on best budget running shoes. So naturally the keyword or the key phrase will be budget running shoes. Now here you will need to use an SEO plugin. Yoast SEO and even all-in-one SEO are popular plugins that are available on WordPress. So in these plugins, right below your article, you can put in your focus keyword. Now the focus keyword helps these plugins tell the search engine what your article is all about. So think about it this way. If I am a reader and I search for budget running shoes, the search engine knows that my intent is for budget running shoes. The plugin also gives information to the search engine saying that, hey, this article is all about budget running shoes. And naturally, it's a match. And that is how you are paired with people who are searching for the type of content that you've written. Another tip here is to add secondary keywords as well. Now these keywords are related keywords to your primary one. So for example, if budget running shoes are the article, I will have affordable running shoes as another alternative. I can also have affordable running shoes for men as another secondary keyword. Now this helps the search engine determine what kind of target audience it's offered to. Another tip that I would also give is avoid keyword stuffing. When it comes to secondary keywords, it needs to be similar to your primary keywords. Don't think of putting every possible combination you can think of in this field. Now once that you have your primary keyword handy, you will need it in your URL slug. Now your URL slug is the URL in which your article will be available. Usually by default, WordPress uses blog and appends a number at the end of it. You can go ahead, customize it. And here I would want you to put in the keyword, the primary keyword that I talked about at the start. So budget running shoes will be added to the URL slug. And this also gives a clear indication to search engines that, hey, this page, rather at this URL address, exists content that is primarily targeted to budget running shoes. And this is another way of optimizing your content by using the right URL slug. And that takes me to point number 3, meta title and descriptions. Now a lot of people tend to overlook meta title and description, only just they use the headings and well, they usually miss out on adding the meta title and the meta description. Now what a meta title and meta description does is it will be displayed on a SERP result. So over there, your title can be slightly different or tweaked compared to your article title, and the description would give a reader a good idea of what they can expect in the blog post. This is also important because when you go ahead and share it on other social media platforms, usually these platforms pick up the meta title and the meta description, and you don't have to go around adding it or editing it again. So for the meta title, you need to be sure of adding text that is relevant. So for example, if you have budget running shoes, you can put this in the meta title itself. And in the description, you can talk about how you have focused on the low end of the running shoe market and curated a list of the best shoes that are available in here. Now this itself is, exciting for someone to click and read. And that is why the meta description is very important. It's something you shouldn't skip. Adding images is very important. No one likes reading a wall of text. I'm sure if I were to publish an article which is all text, nobody would read it. Even I wouldn't want to read it. Images help break the flow and also act as a great hook of bringing people onto the blog. Images that are self-explanatory are better. So for the article we've been discussing about, we can have someone running with the best shoe that you've picked, for example. That can be an image that goes in the blog post. Alternatively, you can have a collective photo of all the shoes that you have tested or shortlisted. That way, someone who's reading the blog has a clear idea of what the blog is about and which products have you shortlisted. And you're not restricted to only one image. One is absolutely necessary, but you can go ahead and add more of them. You have to keep this in mind that adding multiple images that are not relevant can cause your page to become heavy and load slowly. So be choosy when it comes to selecting the image that you want, but at the same time, don't overdo it. Another tip is to add alt text to your images. Now what alt text does is it gives context to search engines about your image. So for example, if I am uploading a photo of a Nike running shoe, I can add the alt text as Nike running shoe, and that gives the search engine a clear idea of what the image is about. The other advantage here is that if someone is searching for Nike running shoes, your image, because it has the same alt text, is possible to rank in the image search for Google. Now that takes me to point number 5, which is internal linking. Now internal linking is very, very crucial, because what you're essentially doing is connecting all the articles that are there on your website or blog with each other. I must add the word relevant, because relevance is super important. So for example, if I stick with the same example we've been discussing so far, if you have an article that you've published, say last year, for example, the best budget running shoes of 2023, you can link back from your new article to the older one, saying that, hey, these were the shoes that we had picked last year and that is how it fared. This is the kind of response that we got from our readers, and here is the next list. Alternatively, you can also link back to reviews of particular shoes that you have picked in your list. Now what this also does is, from a user experience level, your readers who are curious about, say, one particular running shoe, and if you have a review that is linked back, you are going to most definitely drive traffic from this post to another article about the review. So interlinking is a great way of also distributing your traffic from one page to multiple other pages on your website. This is a non-negotiable activity, because by linking back and forth, you are also giving Google a stronger understanding of the knowledge expertise that you have, or the domain expertise that you have. Now this works great for someone who is doing content, especially in a niche field. Now that is something that is most commonly overlooked, but if you've seen this checklist, I'm sure you will not. While we are on the topic of linking, external linking is the most obvious point. So external linking is something that I've seen most bloggers, most website owners, editors miss out on. They think that, hey, why should we go ahead and send our traffic to another website? So I think there are 2 points that I would want to emphasize. One, if you're citing someone for the research that they've done or the data pointer that you've picked from their site, it's always a good practice to link back to them, because you're giving them credit for the work that they've done. And also it helps build trust for readers, knowing that they can go to the website and verify that the facts or data that you're stating is accurate. Another way of doing it is, whenever you're adding a link, a lot of people tend to not check the open in new tab option. Now what it does is, this, if you miss out on, it's going to drive your traffic away to a different website that you've linked to. When you're opening it in a new tab, the article link will open in a new tab, whereas your reader will still be on your article consuming it. So here you give them an option to check the data on a different tab and come back to your website, and that is something you should also implement in this checklist. And ultimately, point number 7 would be to add your article to the right category. Now this is most commonly overlooked, and a good exercise like this will help bucket your articles in with other articles of the same category. For example, continuing with the running shoe example that we have been discussing so far, you can categorize it in, say, running as a category. Alternatively, you can have best basketball shoes, best walking shoes, best training shoes, and accordingly when you categorize them, the advantage is that when someone comes in for best running shoes, right, they would click on a category and they will be able to explore articles on running if you have categorized them well. And what that would mean is traffic that comes into a particular category can then slowly trickle down to multiple other articles you've written in the same category. This is a great exercise to increase your time on site, also build authority in particular categories and particular niches. Now, these were the 7 points that I wanted you to check before you hit that publish button. Did I miss something? Let me know that in the comments. I'll see you in the next one.